What changed the racist's heart? Aisha smoothed the wrinkles on her well-worn dress, taking a deep breath before stepping into the gleaming high-rise. She had always dreamt of working here, in a professional environment where her abilities would be judged fairly. But growing up in a poor neighborhood in Baltimore, Aisha understood the invisible barriers her skin color erected better than anyone. Memories of her childhood flooded back, the taunts, the contemptuous glances, the doors slammed in her face. Aisha had cried bitter tears when her peers teased her as a black crow, had bitten her lip to endure being denied a part-time job simply for not fitting the store's image. But those hardships only strengthened her resolve. She learned to hold her head high, smile, and keep moving forward, turning those insults into fuel for her ambition. Today, Aisha was interviewing for the position of data analyst. She had prepared meticulously, confident in her knowledge and skills. But then, an unexpected incident on the way caused her to be late. In the lush green park, Aisha saw a little white girl, about 5 years old, being bullied by an older black boy who was pulling her hair and snatching her toy. The little girl cried desperately, her face filled with fear. Aisha couldn't ignore it. She ran over to intervene, gently but firmly separating the two children. "Hey, what are you doing?" Aisha's voice was warm but stern. The older boy glared at Aisha, his face aggressive. "None of your business." Aisha didn't flinch. She knelt before the two children, patiently talking and explaining to them about sharing and respecting each other. At first, the children were resistant, but gradually they were persuaded by Aisha's sincere words. Finally, the black boy returned the toy and apologized to the little girl. The two children shook hands and made up, playing happily together. Looking at the radiant smiles of the children, Aisha felt relieved. She hurried to the interview, silently praying that she wouldn't be judged for her tardiness. But as she entered the meeting room, Aisha immediately sensed the tense atmosphere. Mr. Thomas, a middle-aged white man with salt and pepper hair and a stern gaze, was staring intently at the watch on his wrist. "Miss Aisha," Mr. Thomas said, his voice cold, "you are 10 minutes late." Aisha tried to explain. "Sir, I'm truly sorry. On my way here, I helped a little girl." "I don't need excuses," Mr. Thomas interrupted. "In the business world, punctuality is fundamental. You being late shows that you don't respect the company, you don't respect me." Aisha felt her blood rush to her face. She had tried to restrain herself, but the contempt in Mr. Thomas's voice made her unable to bear it any longer. "Sir," Aisha said, her voice trembling with anger, "I'm not here to beg for your favor. I'm here because I'm capable, and I deserve this opportunity. I was late because I helped a child in need. If you think that's unprofessional, then maybe your company isn't the place for me." With that, Aisha turned and walked away, her heart filled with indignation. She couldn't believe that in this day and age, prejudice against skin color was still so deeply ingrained. Mr. Thomas watched Aisha's retreating figure, a feeling of discomfort rising within him. He wasn't used to being contradicted, especially by a black woman. He told himself that he was right to reject Aisha. She was arrogant, disrespectful, and didn't fit the company culture. But then, the image of the crying white girl in the park flashed through his mind. He remembered his own daughter, Lily, who was about the same age as that little girl. If Lily were bullied, wouldn't he want someone to help her? For 2 days afterward, Mr. Thomas couldn't concentrate on his work. The image of Aisha, with her determined eyes and dignified voice, haunted him. He began to question himself. Had he been too hasty in judging Aisha? Were his prejudices clouding his judgment? One afternoon, Mr. Thomas took Lily for a walk in the park. Suddenly, Lily exclaimed, "Daddy, look! It's Miss Aisha!" Mr. Thomas followed Lily's pointing finger. Aisha was sitting on the grass, reading to a group of children. Lily ran to hug Aisha, chattering excitedly. Mr. Thomas listened in stunned silence as his daughter recounted how Aisha had helped her when she was being bullied. "Miss Aisha also taught me and John to love and share with each other," Lily said. "Now John and I are best friends." Mr. Thomas felt as if an electric current had passed through him. It turned out that the woman he had scorned was the one who had helped his beloved daughter. He was ashamed, remorseful, and infinitely grateful. Mr. Thomas approached Aisha, His voice choked with emotion. Miss Aisha, I'm so sorry. His voice trailed off, the apology catching in his throat. Shame washed over him, so intense he wished the ground would swallow him whole. Aisha looked at him, her deep brown eyes filled with understanding. She knew that for a white man, carrying ingrained prejudices, admitting his mistake and apologizing to a black woman was no easy feat. It's all right, sir, she replied softly. I understand. No, I was wrong, Mr. Thomas insisted, his voice more sincere than ever. I judged you unfairly, without giving you a chance. I'm truly grateful to you for helping Lily. He confessed his anxieties about Lily's friendship with John, the black boy. He admitted that his prejudice had led him to forbid his daughter from playing with him, almost destroying their beautiful friendship. I was wrong to impose my thoughts on her, Mr. Thomas said, his voice filled with remorse. I'm trying to change, but it's not easy. Aisha smiled encouragingly. I believe you can do it. It's never too late to change. She then shared her own childhood experiences, the discrimination she faced, and her relentless efforts to overcome the barriers of race. She spoke of her dream of working in a fair environment where her abilities would be recognized. Listening to Aisha's story, Mr. Thomas felt even more admiration for the young woman. He realized he had missed out on a talented individual because of his foolish prejudices. Miss Aisha, Mr. Thomas said, his voice filled with determination, I want to invite you back to the company. We need people like you. Aisha looked at him in surprise. She hadn't expected him to make this offer. I know I behaved inappropriately during the interview, Mr. Thomas continued, but I hope you'll give me a chance to make amends. Aisha paused, considering. She still had some reservations, but looking at Mr. Thomas's sincere eyes and Lily's bright smile, she decided to accept the offer. Yes, I agree, Aisha replied. Returning to the company with a renewed perspective, Aisha quickly integrated into the work environment. She proved her competence through insightful analyses and innovative ideas. Her colleagues loved her for her enthusiasm, friendliness, and sense of responsibility. Mr. Thomas also changed significantly. He was no longer the cold, aloof boss he once was. He learned to listen, respect his employees' opinions, and treat everyone fairly regardless of their race or background. Aisha and Lily became close friends. She often visited Mr. Thomas's house, playing with Lily, reading books together, and baking in the kitchen. Aisha became a big sister, a confidant, and a mentor to Lily. One day, Aisha received an email from a rival company, offering her a job with a more attractive salary. Aisha thought long and hard. She was grateful to Mr. Thomas for giving her a chance, but she also yearned to advance her career in a new environment. Aisha decided to speak frankly with Mr. Thomas. He listened without any sign of anger or disappointment. I understand, Mr. Thomas said. You have the right to choose the best path for yourself. I just hope that wherever you are, you will always shine. Aisha was touched by Mr. Thomas's understanding. She knew she had found a sincere boss and friend. Years later, Aisha had risen to become a leading data analyst. She founded her own company and achieved remarkable success. She maintained contact with Mr. Thomas and Lily, their bond deepening with time. They often met, sharing joys and sorrows, their lives intertwined. The story of Aisha and Mr. Thomas became a cherished anecdote within the company. It served as a reminder of the power of love, forgiveness, and acceptance. It proved that people can change, prejudices can be overcome, and genuine friendships can transcend all barriers. One summer evening, Aisha visited Mr. Thomas. Lily was away at college and they were alone. They sat on the porch, sipping chamomile tea, watching the sunset. Aisha, thank you, Mr. Thomas suddenly said, his voice warm. Thank you for coming into my life, for helping me change, for making me a better person. Aisha smiled gently. You're welcome, sir. That's what I hoped for. Mr. Thomas looked at Aisha, his eyes shining with respect and affection. I used to think that I was the one giving you a favor by offering you a job, but now I understand you were the one who gave me the most precious gift. Aisha was silent, her heart filled with emotion. She knew that their fateful encounter had not only changed her life, but also Mr. Thomas's and Lily's. Together, they had written a beautiful story about humanity, forgiveness, and the power of transformation. a story that warmed their hearts and filled them with pride every time they remembered it. The night breeze blew gently, carrying the sweet scent of flowers. In the fading light of the setting sun, Aisha and Mr. Thomas sat quietly together, cherishing the peaceful moment, grateful for the serendipitous bond that had brought them together. You see, sometimes the smallest things can bring about the biggest changes. How did the story of Aisha and Mr. Thomas touch your heart? Did it stir any thoughts about prejudice, forgiveness, and the power of human connection? Share your thoughts about this story. And if you enjoyed this meaningful and touching tale, don't forget to subscribe to my channel to discover more.